For a long time now, I have seeked out what I believed was peace in my life and my own perception of peace. I've tried to, you know, guide my life into a way where I could attain that peace. But about a year ago, I made a video titled Eternal Peace, and where I was in my life at the time, I felt that peace was unattainable without abandonment. And what I mean by that is peace is unattainable without ridding yourself of all the attachments that you have to this world. And by the attachments, the way that I was looking at attachments a year ago was, if you have love for somebody, if you have feelings for somebody that makes you cherish them, then I felt if you cherish somebody, if you can truly feel strongly about somebody, forget feel strongly about someone, if you can feel emotions in general, I felt like you couldn't be at peace. If you feel emotions, how can you be at peace? That's my mindset at that time. And I thought that peace was being at a state where you didn't feel anything anymore. You just more so were just there. You were just there. You were just living, and you were just one with everything. My perspective on that has changed, because I mean, really, is there really a way to be one with everything, with all the complexities of the world, even within its simplicity, when you literally are void, when you're empty? I feel like emotions and feelings are not, they're not unnecessary baggage. They're not unnecessary baggage, and emotions and feelings can be used both to serve you, and emotions and feelings can't dictate whether you are at a state of peace or not. What you feel in your heart, you are always gonna feel different things in your heart. You're always gonna have feelings come into your heart, and you can try to tuck those feelings away inside your heart so you don't feel them anymore, which you can do to a certain extent. And I say that all the time. You can do that to an extent. You can push your feelings down. You can push your feelings out. You can keep them bottled up inside of you. But at some point, there's always gonna be something that's gonna bring those feelings back out. And even if they never get brought back out, even if you went your whole entire life with your feelings bottled up, that never meant that you truly ridded yourself of your feelings. That never meant that you truly killed your feelings. All you did was bottle them up and push them to the inner depths of your heart. You never truly attained peace in a sense, because you never got to a point where you don't feel anything. If not feeling anything, if not having any emotions is truly peace, then peace is a flawed concept within itself. Because, as I said, even if you go your entire life and you don't feel anything, and you bottle up your feelings and you keep them within your heart so far down that you truly can't feel it, you truly feel void, you truly feel empty, you truly feel like you are just being. Those feelings that you tucked away, those emotions that you tucked away, those quote-unquote attachments that you tucked away so far into your heart are still somewhere there. So if peace is not having those things, if they're still tucked away somewhere deep inside of you, can you truly say you're at peace? Or is your form of peace that you are experiencing in your life just an illusion? Because if your character is grounded in the idea of emptiness, none of us are truly completely void. None of us are truly completely empty. We can, like I said, tuck things away so far within ourselves that we may feel empty, but there will always be attachments, quote unquote. There will always be feelings, there will always be emotions somewhere within you, even if you tuck them so far down into your heart. And if that's the case, then there is always a chance that those attachments, those feelings, those emotions can come out. And once those attachments, those feelings, those emotions do come out, if you have identified yourself and built yourself and grounded yourself on the fact that you are void, that you are empty, when you realize that those things were within you the entire time, could you really say that you are at peace? Could you really say that you were ever at peace? I don't think peace has anything to do with the heart. I don't think peace has anything to do, well, it does have something to do with the heart, and it does have something to do with your feelings and your emotions and your attachments, but not in the sense of those things having control over peace, because peace is not emptiness, but rather, from what I've learned and where I am today in my life and how I see this life today, peace is rather control. Peace is control to me. And what I mean by that is, you have to accept that, again, no matter how much you try to tuck your feelings and your quote-unquote attachments away so far within yourself, you'll never be able to truly be completely empty. You'll never be able to truly be completely void. And if you accept that and you rather look towards acceptance for what is, I think that is how one can find peace. And when I say acceptance for what is, I mean the fact that you understand that you will always have these feelings. You understand that you will always have these emotions and these quote-unquote attachments. And those things can severely hinder you, or they can severely improve you and help you grow, depending on how you process those feelings, emotions, and attachments, quote unquote, within your mind. Your mind is the most powerful force that there ever will be, because your mind will shape everything that you see, everything that you experience. Your mind shapes it all. Everything starts internally and ends internally. And what I mean by that is, no matter what you have to go through externally, no matter what you have to go through within your life and the experiences that you have to go through within your life, what truly matters is how you perceive those experiences, how you perceive those happenstances, because your perception is your reality, and your perception is completely influenced by your mind and what you tell your mind, and the control that you have over your mind. So your mind is such a powerful force, and I think that it's really truly a shame that no one teaches us how much of a force our minds are, and no one teaches us to not let our minds be a force that's independent of ourselves, because your mind and yourself can align with each other, and you can take that power, you can take the power that your mind has over your reality to shape your reality into what you as a person want your reality to be. There is no external situation, neither is there any internal feeling, emotion, or attachment that can make you be at a state of not being at peace. But rather, the way that you interpret those external experiences or those internal feelings and emotions and attachments, that is what will determine whether you will be at a state of peace or whether you will be at a state of war within yourself. Because again, your mind literally shapes your reality. And what I mean when I say your mind shapes your reality, the idea of negativity and positivity, the idea of, you know, good and bad, the idea of duality is completely a construct of the mind itself. So depending on what you feed into your mind and what you tell yourself that you are going through, what you tell yourself that the feelings that you are experiencing is, what you are telling yourself that the emotions that you're experiencing is, what you're telling yourself that the attachments that you're experiencing is, what you're telling yourself that the physical experiences that you are experiencing is, that will determine whether all of those things are good or bad. That will determine whether all those things are positive or negative. Those emotions themselves, those feelings themselves, those attachments themselves, those experiences themselves, they're all just experiences. They're all just emotions. They're all just attachments. They are not inherently good or bad. They're not inherently positive or negative. They're just things that happen. They are just things that are a part of life. But what you decide to take from those things is entirely dependent upon you. And that's why the idea of struggle is simply just an idea. Struggle doesn't exist if struggle doesn't exist in your mind. So you could have a person who has complete control over their minds and is going through a plethora of what the average person today would perceive as negative feelings and emotions, such as fear, anger, sadness, loneliness. And the same person could also be going through physical experiences that people perceive as negative experiences, such as losing a loved one. I don't know. I don't want to get graphic or nothing, you know what I'm saying? But like this can go as far as you want it to go. It could go to being shot. It could go to. See, I'm not gonna tweet, but I ain't gonna tweet. But you could be going through truly the craziest things that the average person would perceive as a negative experience, a bad experience, and you could be at peace with all of those emotions. You could be at peace with all of those experiences. You could be strapped down to a chair getting beat in the head with a baseball bat, and you could be at a more peaceful state of mind, and you could be at a better state of mind than some dude that's sitting in a mansion with all the money in the world, solely because you have control over your mind. Peace is not a external state. Peace is an internal state, and peace is brought to you and fortified through the mind itself. It's not fortified through your experiences. It's not fortified through what you're feeling or what your emotions are or what your attachments are. It's not fortified through all of those things. It's not fortified. It's not created through any of those things. It is created solely through your mind and what you attach to those things. And that's why I've been saying attachments, quote unquote, because when I say attachments in the sense of loving somebody or loving something or feeling connected to something, that is an attachment in a way, but I don't think that that's necessarily what attachment really means. Those things are attachments in one sense, and I say that to be at peace, to be at a peaceful state of mind, you have to be detached, and that's why I said that I didn't feel that eternal peace, that I didn't feel that peace was attainable, because I didn't want to detach myself from the connections that I had. I didn't want to detach myself from, I was willing to detach myself to a certain extent, but I didn't want to completely detach myself from those types of attachments that I had. I didn't want to completely detach myself from loving the people that I love, from loving the girl that's like a little sister to me, from loving my mother, from loving, certain people in my life. Of course I wouldn't want to do that. But I realize now that detachment is necessary to find peace within yourself and to find peace of mind. But it's detachment in a different sense. The detachment that I say is necessary for you to find peace of mind is to detach yourself from trying to make sense of everything, from always trying to find a grand scheme, or a big idea, or a label for something. Everything you go through, everything that happens, it was all meant to be. There are an infinite amount of paths that you can walk down on this life, and if you find yourself choosing just one out of those infinite amounts of roads that you can take, that is the road that you were meant to take. Anything that's happened in your past, anything that you've had to go through, any mistake that you've made, any experience you've experienced, happenstance you've had to deal with, relationship you forged, relationship you've lost, all of those things were meant to happen, and all of those things were meant to, promote growth within yourself, grow you into a quote unquote better person. There is no such thing as a negative experience. There is no such thing as a negative feeling, a negative emotion, a negative attachment. All of those things don't exist. They only exist if you allow it to exist within your mind. And that's why I say that to find yourself at a state of peace, to find yourself at a state of peace of mind, you have to detach yourself from attaching attachments to the things that you're feeling, from attaching attachments to the emotions that you are experiencing. You have to detach yourself from attaching attachments to the things that you are experiencing externally. Those attachments, when you try to tell yourself that you are going through something bad, or what you're feeling is something bad, what you're feeling is something negative, the attachment that you have to this person is something negative, this is something negative, this is something negative, all of these things are bad for you, all of these things are negative, I went through this was something that shouldn't have happened, I went through this is something that was a bad thing to happen, this never should have happened. Everything simply is as it is, and everything that is was meant to be. And everything you go through, both internally and externally, again, is just trying to build you into a more complete person. It's trying to build you into a better person. It's just trying to bring out growth within yourself. And to be at a state of peace, to me now, means to understand that everything that's happening is all happening for a reason. And no matter what you go through, no matter what you have to experience in this life, no matter what you have to feel in this life, none of those things are inherently bad. Because whether you meet the love of your life or you get shot in your head 4 times and survive, both of those situations are just simply experiences, and they're both just experiences that are trying to bring growth within yourself. as long as you are still here, as long as you are still breathing on this earth, then you are here for a reason. You are here to grow. You are here to experience more things, both internally and externally, to bring about growth within yourself. So finding yourself at a point where you understand that everything is simply just happening for your growth and everything is happening for a reason. You'll find that when you stop attaching these negative labels and these negative attachments to the things that you're feeling and the things that you're experiencing, you'll find yourself at a point of peace, because you'll understand that everything that is happening to you is simply happening for a reason, and it's simply just trying to promote growth within yourself. It's simply just trying to grow you into someone new, and this isn't to say that life won't ever be hard if you are at peace. This isn't to say that just because I do know that, this is happening for a reason, this is happening for my growth, I'm feeling these things for my growth. It may not still be something that you really want to feel or be a place that you really want to be in. It may not be what you asked for, but if you at the very least understand that everything that's happening is happening for a reason, and if you understand that at the very least that you have control over your mind and what you are going through, no matter what somebody else may have perceived what you're going through as, that you have complete control over your perception of what you are going to, see that experience as, or see that feeling or those feelings that you're experiencing as, then you'll know that literally this entire life is all at your mercy. Everything that you are experiencing, the effect that will have on you is all at your mercy. Whether something is going to be quote unquote positive or something is going to be quote unquote negative, that is at your mercy. The things that aren't at our mercy is the feelings that you're going to experience, the experiences in a physical sense that you're going to experience. I think carrying yourself in a certain manner and, having a certain energy about yourself, you can align yourself with what you want, your experiences to be, but you never really know what life has in store for you. But you can always know that you hold the power of what the perception of what that experience is going to be for yourself. And when you and your mind are working together, and again, your mind isn't an independent force from yourself, then you can really shape all of this into whatever you want it to be. Because like I said, if you have control over your mind, if you have control over, placing those attachments on your experiences and the things that you're feeling, if you understand what that entails, and you understand that all of us are unconsciously shaping our realities into what it is through our minds. Even if you don't have control over your mind, you're still unconsciously shaping your reality into what it is, because you're still feeding things to your mind, and your mind is feeding those things to your reality. Even if you don't understand that, you're still shaping your reality into what it is. Even if it's becoming something that you don't want it to be, it still starts with you. All of the control is on you. Everything about your perception, everything that you will see, no matter what you have to experience physically, no matter what you have to experience internally, it's all on you. And when you get to a point when you understand that, then of course there's still going to be some things that's going to be hard to swallow. And of course there's still going to be some experiences that are going to be harder to deal with. There's still going to be some feelings that's going to be harder to deal with. There's going to be some quote unquote attachments that may be making you feel certain feelings that's going to be hard for you to deal with, but that doesn't mean that you aren't at a state of peace. That doesn't have to mean that you aren't at a state of peace. You still know that everything that's happening around you is happening for a reason, and you still know that the effect of those things that's happening around you and the effect of those things that's happening within you is completely at your control and is completely at your mercy. And when you take that power for yourself, when you take that power into your hands, then those things, those traumatic feelings, those traumatic experiences, those things have no control over you. Those things are just simply experiences. Those things are just simply feelings, but they have no control over you. You, along with your mind, the two forces, yourself and your mind, have come together, and it's beautiful. You can shape everything into what you want it to be for yourself. So even if you do want to say that you're going through something bad or you're going through something negative, which I'm not sure why you would want to say, but shoot, let's say you wanted to say you're going through something negative. You are consciously making that decision yourself. You and your mind are consciously making that decision, and you are still shaping your reality into what you want it to be, because you told yourself that you want to allow this situation or these feelings that you're feeling to be negative. So you allow it to be negative in your mind. Essentially, like I said, a negative experience, a negative feeling, a negative emotion, none of those things actually exist. And once you start putting those attachments on things, it just makes what you're going through even more intensified. So if I'm going through an external experience and I tell myself in my mind that what I'm going through is negative, the feelings that are coming from that experience, if I'm feeling sadness from that experience, if I'm feeling loneliness from that experience, if I tell myself that it's a negative experience and I try to make sense of that experience in that way, place that attachment onto that experience, then those emotions that I'll just listed are just going to be more intensified, and it's just going to impact me more negatively moving forward. So I feel like, why place that negative attachment on anything? What's the point? Why would you place the negative attachment on anything? Of course you can place a positive attachment on certain things if you haven't certain feelings of pride and joy about something you just accomplished. And yeah, you can say you're going through something positive, but why would you tell yourself that you are going through something negative if that's just going to extenuate, or that might not be the right word, but if that's just going to intensify what you're feeling and make it even worse for you and make it impact yourself even worse? Negativity, positivity, good, bad, duality, it's all a construct of the mind. It's all a concept that's been derived strictly from the mind. It doesn't exist in life. There is no positive and negative in life. It's only in the mind, and it's only what you will allow your mind to deem it as. And when you do allow your mind to deem those things, then they will just, continue to intensify the things that you are feeling from those experiences that you're going through, or those emotions and feelings that you're going through. So understanding that and keeping yourself at a place where you are not trying to make sense of everything. You are not trying to place an attachment on everything. You are simply just allowing yourself to be, allowing yourself to live, standing on the principles that you've set for yourself, and continuing to be the person that you want to be, and not trying to get so deep into these things that it's really no point in getting deep into, because again, everything simply just is. Everything that you go through simply is what it is. Everything that you feel simply is what it is. And when you place those attachments on those things, you are trying to make it more than what it is. And when you make it more than what it is, sometimes making it more than what it is can be beneficial for you. Again, like I said, if there is, an experience you're going through where you feeling pride and joy from something that you accomplished, and you place that positive attachment onto it, and yeah, maybe that can, make that experience serve you anymore, make that experience even better for you. But oftentimes what we do is we make experiences and feelings and emotions and quote unquote attachments that simply are what they are more than what they need to be, and in a negative sense where it's not serving us, by placing that negative attachment on it, and by placing that bad attachment on it or whatever. And when you do that, then what you're going through just becomes all the more intensified.